Good evening, SC viewers. This is Satellite Media. Let us look at the recent development in the country, sequel to the bill before National Assembly, and talking about tax reform bill that came from the President Senator Bola Tinubu. The North seems to have drawn the battle line with the President. The North seems to have used a sledgehammer on Tinubu himself. Of course, we understand that both Chamber of National Assembly have since suspended deliberation on the bill. And remember that before now, the president was not ready to listen to anybody because we had a situation where all the 19 governors in the north are under the auspices of Northern Governor Forum advised the president to suspend the bill. He refused. Had a situation where the National Economic Council, headed by the vice president that comprised of all the 36 governors, met and advised the president to suspend the bill for more consultation, and he refused. But this time around, nobody is advising to refuse. He's succumbing to pressure from the North. But currently, we are seeing a situation where North have been vehement in their opposition to the bill. And in all of this, the southeastern part of the country, position from the Igbo axis, seem to be standing aloof. The North, they are not seen to be at the forefront of against or for the bill. And what look like the Igbos joining people who are agitating to secede for the country in that quest to actualize it, they are not vocal in this particular national issue. Though we have seen the likes of a former governor of Abia State who is supporting the bill and talking about Ojus Okalo. We're actually saying and of course we understand that for obvious reason that is on political ground. Even if you see the Deputy Senate, House of Reps Speaker Benjamin Kalu maybe equally supporting, we understand that is purely political. But generally speaking, the politicians from the Igbo side, the Biafran side, are not vocal in this regard. But again, let us look at areas where the North have atomized perhaps the sin of the president, particularly this area that has to do with the initial suspension of Arewa Consultative Forum chairman. Remember that the man made a statement where he said in 2027 that the North will only support a Northern candidate. Of course, that angered the stakeholders from Northern Elders Forum, Arewa Consultative Forum, and he was quickly suspended. But since this issue of tax reform bill came up, we are seeing serious, stiff opposition from the North, and the man has since been, the suspension has since been lifted. I'm talking about Maman Osuman, the chairman of Arewa Consultative Forum, who was hitherto before now suspended, have been recalled back to his office. Of course, that best explains the reason that the North is not comfortable with this current government, because the reason they gave Abinishio for suspending was because he was saying that the North will only support a Northern candidate come 2027. And as we have it, the stakeholders in the same Arewa Consultative Forum is saying that all the misunderstandings have been resolved, and it's not on record that he was asked to withdraw that statement. It's not on record that he withdrew that statement. So if they are saying all the misunderstandings have been resolved, it means they are now in they are now in conformity with the position of the man who said come 2027 that they will only support a Northern candidate. Do not forget that before now, the North have said that the mistake they made in 2023, that they don't hope to repeat it again. Then looking at this issue of Mr. President's tax bill, we are seeing serious opposition from notable Northerners. Even someone who should be a very close ally of Tinubu is equally speaking against it. I'm talking about Babagala Zulum, the governor of Borno State. We understand that this is a man that Tinubu actually wanted to use as his vice presidential candidate in the build-up to 2023 presidential election, before the man asked the president to instead use his political godfather, who is now the vice president of Nigeria. I'm talking about Kashima. But as have it, is someone like the current governor of Borno State should be kicking against the bill. You go to show that the North is resolute about what they want. It's not even about who is the Tinubu himself. It's not about the personal relationship he may have with the Tinubu himself. Equally, look at someone like Tambuwa. Of course, we understand he was a close political ally to Tinubu in the past under ACN and all that. We understand the circumstances surrounding how he emerged as the then Speaker, House of Representative, with the support of Tinubu political dynasty in Lagos here. But currently, he's very vocal and vehement against that bill. Of course, the people who have been drumming support for that bill, we understand the Senate leader, majority leader, talking about Senator Opeyemi, who is from Ekiti State, is at the forefront of drumming support for that bill. But the bill seems to have hit a brick wall because the North is very resolute and determined to bring that bill down. Don't forget that before now, someone like Senator Alin Dume was very clear in his position that that bill will not see the light of the day, that that bill will be dead on arrival. It looks as if Ndume and his lies are making good their threats, because currently, as we have it, both chamber of the National Assembly, both the House of Representatives and the Senate, where the bill have even crossed first and second reading, has since suspended further deliberation on the bill, and to give room for more consultation. Do not forget that that consultation is what people have been asking the president to allow, that he refused. But now that the bill have met a brick wall, he's now rushing back to see whether he can start talking to people on how to resolve those gray areas. But again, I think what the governors and the stakeholders are looking at is a personal interest for me, because once they address the issue that has to do with revenue that accrues to the state, I think the governors will always succumb to the details of the president. But again, for me, the area that needed priority attention is the area that talks about whether we should increase value-added tax from 7.5% to 12.5%, because one of the bills is clear on that. And if that bill is to say true, it implies that by January 2025, value-added tax will increase from 7.5% to 12.5%. Of course, we all know the impact of the policy of subsidy removal of gasoline and the increase of efforts at the official window on our economy currently, and the government have not been able to address it. So for me, this is not the best time to start tinkering with the idea of increasing value at that time, because the hardship occasion by government policy have not been addressed. Let us go and look at the angle a former governor of Kano State is coming from. I'm talking about Kwankwaso himself, the leader of Kwankwaso movement. Of course, we understand that Kwankwaso is very vehement in his own position too, that the Lagos wants to colonize the North, and Kano in particular. He raised the issue of Emir Agitators. We understand that currently we have two emir in Kano Emirates. Of course, Kwankwaso have accused the powers at the national in Abuja of taking away taxes of the North in what looked like trying to galvanize support for Northern leaders to stand against that bill. He has made it clear that Northern senators, politicians should rise in defense of the North. And we are still seeing the lawmakers in the North, senators and House of Representatives, coming together and issuing a communique that they are against that bill. Of course, it's very clear that the North is not comfortable with that bill, and if the president is to push ahead, I think he's going to meet a very serious opposition like he's currently meeting. But again, I think what is important is we need a sovereign national conference, because addressing the concerns of people who are opposing the bill is good. But what happens when you have people who are saying we are not comfortable with this entity called Nigeria? Instead of addressing it, we are seeing the government using brute force. We are seeing coercion, oppression, and all that. We are seeing, I'm talking about perhaps people who talk of about Oduduwa Republic, people who talk of Biafra Republic. We understand that in the past, according to Obasanjo, this is not the first time somebody will be calling for division. They did not have done it in the past when they shouted Araba. But again, I think what is important is the government should provide a platform for conversation, because we are seeing even someone who should know better, Professor Woloshenka, saying that Biafra is an ideology. As such, you can only address it from ideological point of view. Using brute force, using coercion, oppression, and all that may not solve the problem, because at every point in time, somebody will rise to request for self-determination if the basis for which people are demanding for good governance is not addressed. I must say very thank you for your time. This is Satellite Media and I'm Mr. Motu.